Shaq Lawson is now questionable with a toe injury, and that comes after the news of Greg Rousseau already being out versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Welcome to my channel, Bills News Consolidated. We were discussing it. Man, Von Miller is coming back at such a perfect time, but we know he's going to be on a limited snap count, probably on just long down and distances situations. Sure, passing downs for Von Miller. So what is ultimately going to happen here without our guy, Shaq Lawson? You know, the Buffalo Bills rotate players on this defensive line. So it's not like our defensive ends have no experience. You know, AJ Epinesa and all these other players, Kingsley Jonathan, he's going to be called up again, I presume, and he's been called up a couple of times so far this season. Kingsley Jonathan going against Anton Harrison, a rookie for the Jaguars. And hearing that Anton Harrison, his draft profile, you could even look it up, he struggles against speed to power rushers. And that's exactly Leonard Floyd. That's exactly Von Miller. That's exactly Kingsley Jonathan. And ultimately, the Jaguars don't have enough talent on this team to maul the Buffalo Bills defense, grind the ball, keep Josh Allen, our quarterback, on the sidelines, keep the game close. You know, I don't think they're going to be able to win the time of possession just punching the Bills in the mouth. That's not the Jacksonville Jaguars. So this is ultimately going to turn into a high potent passing attack. And I think Doug Peterson ultimately understands this right off the bat. You got guys like Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones is coming back, Evan Ingram, a tall, physical, fast tight end. The Jaguars are thinking they are fully capable of slanging ball to ball with the Buffalo Bills. Now, I know hype last week with the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniels, but really Trevor Lawrence and this offense and Travis Etienne and all the other weapons that they have, this is an offense that could run up the score and can keep up with the Buffalo Bills. So the loss of a Shaq Lawson, who really is better against the run, the loss of Leonard Floyd, the loss of Greg Rousseau is definitely a much, much bigger loss. But the addition of Von Miller, the addition of this revamped defensive line with Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Poona Ford, Tim Settle, everyone just doing some big-time things, I really think, you know, it's not all is lost. Not all is lost. The reason why we rotate players on this Sean McDermott defensive line is so we keep them fresh throughout the season, right? Keep them fresh later in games. So the Buffalo Bills, it's important to start fast. You know, the Jaguars, they're taking care of the football offensively, and they have a decent amount of forced fumbles. They don't have a lot of interceptions, but they have a decent amount of forced fumbles. They are definitely fighting to get that ball out defensively for the Bills. Now, Shaq Lawson is definitely a big loss, but again, I don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to maul the Buffalo Bills even without Shaq Lawson. Daquan Jones, Ed Oliver, some of the best defensive tackles in the NFL statistically this year, and Von Miller, Leonard Floyd. I mean, there's just so much talent there for the Bills to just completely ball out. And again, our offense is the best defense because Josh Allen, in these long sustained drives, keeping our defense extra fresh throughout games. Heard it multiple times, jokingly after games. Taron Johnson, Micah Hyde were like, man, I hardly saw the field. Micah Hyde was like, I had to check my jersey for grass stains. He's like, I couldn't even tell if I played. So this Buffalo Bills offense has definitely given a massive break to this defense throughout games and throughout this entire season so far. Really, our offense hasn't even finished games because Kyle Allen and our backups have been able to get into the game as well. So the Bills are ultimately very, very fresh. I know we're going to London, and I know there's some people thinking jet lag and the Bills are going to start slow and all these things, which very well could happen. That's why it's important to take care of that football, especially early in this game. Now, will Doug Peterson look at the Bills and see how depleted we are at defensive end and test it? Yes, he will. Will they be successful just running the ball over and over and over again at our defensive ends? That won't be the case. That's not going to be the case because of how dominant this Buffalo Bills defense has been, because of the experience that we give to the other players on this team. I mean, AJ Epinesa is basically a starter. Every defensive end on this team is a starter. It's not like they're not seeing the field. Kingsley Jonathan is the most underrated player on this team, defensive end, and a completely unknown, but he creates havoc. You look at Anton Harrison, 6'5", 315 pounds, specifically struggles against speed to power rushers. That is exactly what the Buffalo Bills will have in this game with Leonard Floyd, with Von Miller, and also Kingsley Jonathan. And then the other tackle, we could see Cam Robinson, 6'6", 6'7", Cam Robinson. We always hear how hard it is for tall, long offensive linemen to get their hands on a shorter, bendy type defensive end. And we know Von Miller is definitely going to be exploiting that. Buffalo Bills are just going to be just fine at defensive end without Shaq Lawson. Shaq Lawson kind of sets that edge against the run, and we have been stellar against the run. So believe the Jacksonville Jaguars may try to run the ball early in the game, try to establish the run early in the game, but it's really up to the Buffalo Bills and our recipe to win. Run up that score offensively, make the Jacksonville Jaguars start passing that football, get him off their spot, get Kingsley Jonathan, get Von Miller, Leonard Floyd in pass rushing situations all over Trevor Lawrence. And I really believe the Bills, it's going to be either a sack fest or we're going to have a lot of interceptions. You know, Trevor Lawrence going against Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, the two most highest rated impact linebackers in the NFL right now, forced fumbles, interceptions, batted balls. You know, the Bills are really going to dominate Trevor Lawrence in this game. And I think we're going to have at least a handful of sacks or at least like 3 to 4 interceptions. You know, Trevor Lawrence has done a really good job taking care of the football this year, only has 2 interceptions. And I think that's kind of the Jaguars' recipe to win. Take care of the football, win the fundamentals, not a lot of penalties, game-changing plays defensively. They play a hard-nosed style on defense. And I know all the hype around Josh Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've been beating the table here. He's got 6 sacks on the season, which leads the NFL and with other players, but 3 of which came against Anthony Richardson, a rookie, week 1, the Indianapolis Colts. And then he also had 3 sacks on Desmond Ridder, another inexperienced quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. 2 pretty horrible teams, 2 pretty horrible offensive lines, 2 very inexperienced quarterbacks who tend to hold on to the ball a lot longer. They're not making quick decisions. You know, Josh Allen's sack total to me is a little bit padded. It's a little bit padded, and, you know, I think we've gone against better. You know, Max Crosby, Chase Young, you know, Montez Sweat. The Bills are going to be just fine going against Josh Allen. But let me know in the comments, how big of a loss is Shaq Lawson? Appreciate you guys. Hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.